Welcome to C and C++ programming under EPG Pathshala. Today we will start with module 32 constructors and destructors. We can initialize the built-in data types in C++. If we give the initial value at the time of declaration, then it is called as an initialization statement. For example, integer a equal to 10. Here the value 10 is assigned to the integer variable a at the time of declaration. So, this statement is called as an initialization statement, but such initialization facility is not available with the user defined data types. To initialize the user defined data types, C++ has provided special member function called as constructors, and to deallocate the memory for the data object or the class object, a special member function is given in C++ which is called as destructors. Constructors and destructors are special class methods. The constructor is automatically called when an object is created and we can initialize all the data members of that particular class. The destructors are again automatically called by the compiler whenever the object goes out of scope. Now, let us see more of constructors and destructors in this particular module. C++ programming language offers a special member function called as constructor, which allows an object to initialize itself when it is created. A constructor is responsible for preparing the object for action and in particular establishing initial values for all its data, that is its data members. It plays a special role. The constructor is just the another member function and it can be passed information via argument list that can be used to initialize the data members. The name of the constructor function is the name of the class. That is how C++ know that it is a constructor. C++ also provides one more special member function which is called as destructor. It is called when an object of the class goes out of scope or whenever the objects are no longer required or when the memory space used by it is deallocated with the help of the delete operator. Now, let us see the objective of this module. First, we will study about constructors. We will learn about different types of constructors. We will understand about multiple constructors in a class, get familiar with dynamic initialization of the objects, study about constructing the two-dimensional arrays. We will study about dynamic constructors. A constructor is a special member function whose main task is to initialize the objects of its class. It is considered as a special member function because it has the same name as that of the class name. The constructor is called whenever the object of its related class is created. A constructor constructs the values of data members of the class. C++ constructor is called only once in a lifetime of the object when the object is created. C++ constructors can be overloaded. C++ constructors do not return any value, so constructor does not have any return type, not even void data type. Syntax is the class name, opening braces, in public section the class underscore name, opening and closing bracket, the class ends. Here as you see, the name of the constructor is same as that of the class. It does not have any return data type, not even the void. The constructor function has some special characteristics. They are: the constructors has to be declared only in the public section of the class. They are called automatically when the objects are created by the compiler. They do not have any return type, that is not even void, therefore they cannot return any values. They cannot be inherited, even though a derived class can call a base class constructor. They can have the default arguments as that of other C++ functions. We cannot have constructors as virtual. Constructors cannot refer to their addresses. Constructors make implicit calls to the new and delete operators when there is requirement for memory allocation. An object with a constructor cannot be used as a member of the union. Here, one thing to note is when the constructor is declared for a class, then it is a must to initialize the objects of that particular class. There are three different types of constructors which are supported by C++. These are default constructor, parameterized constructor and copy constructor. Now, let us see each one of them in detail. A default constructor is a constructor that accepts no parameter. If no constructors are available for a class, then the compiler implicitly creates a default parameter less constructor without a constructor initialization and a null body. The initialization of the class objects becomes compulsory when the constructor is declared for a class. Syntax is class underscore name, opening closing bracket and curly braces. Inside this body of the constructor, we can have some code for the initialization. Example, the default constructor for a class employee is employee colon colon, that is basically the scope resolution operator, employee opening and closing bracket. If no such constructor is defined, then the compiler supplies a default constructor, the statement employee E1, where we are declaring the object of the class employee. It invokes the default constructor of the compiler to create an object by name E1 of the class employee. Now let us see a sample program to see the usage of the default constructor. We will start with the program #include iostream.h using namespace std. Here we will declare the class plot, start with the class, float plot size. Here the plot size data member is in private scope, public colon plot opening and closing bracket. This is a member function. Here we are initializing plot size as 2400.50 and our constructor function ends. Here we can see that plot is a default constructor which does not accept any parameter, and name of this member function is same as that of a class name plot. We will have one more member function whose return type is void. The name of the function is display plot. It does not accept any parameter and the statement is cout. The size of the plot is, and will display the value of the variable plot size end L. Our member function ends and our class ends. So here we are declaring the class plot with one private data member, one constructor and one member function display plot. We will start with the main program integer main. Here we will declare the object of class plot P1. Here whenever we declare the object of class P1, the compiler automatically calls the constructor plot, where the plot underscore size for the object P1 will be initialized to 2400.50. Now we are calling the member function display plot as P1 dot display plot return 0 and our main program ends. When the above code is compiled and executed, it will produce the result as the size of the plot is 2400.50. Next type of constructor is a parameterized constructor. In practice, it may be compulsory to initialize a variety of data elements of different objects with different values when they are created. C++ permits to accomplish this purpose by passing arguments to the constructor function when the objects are created. The constructor that can take arguments of parameter is called as the parameterized constructor or argument constructor. When some arguments are passed to the constructor, then it will automatically pass the arguments to the constructor and the values will be retrieved by the relevant data members of the class. The syntax is class name in bracket the argument list or parameter list opening and closing bracket. When an object is declared using the parameterized constructor, it is must to pass the initial values as arguments to the constructor function. It can be done in two ways. They are by calling the constructor explicitly or by calling the constructor implicitly. The explicit declaration can be seen as follows: integer I1 is equal to integer 0 and 100. Here explicit values 0 and 100, which are basically parameters, are passed to the object I1. The implicit declaration is called as a shorthand method which is used very frequently to implement, and it will be as integer I1 in bracket 0, 100. Here the 0 and 100 value will be passed as a parameter to the object I1. Now let us see the program to see the usage of the parameterized constructor. Let us start with the program #include iostream.h. Using namespace std, we will declare the class sample. So, we will start with the class declaration class sample. Here we will declare one data member integer a, which will be having the private scope. Now we will have public colon sample in bracket integer j, and inside this member function we will have the statement a equal to j and the member function ends. This is basically the parameterized constructor where the name of the function is same as that of class and it accepts one parameter integer j. This value is assigned to the data member a. Now we will declare the second member function get integer get a opening and closing bracket. Here we will have a statement return a and our member function ends. Here it will just return the value of a data member a from the member function. Now our class will end. Now we will start with the main program integer main opening and closing bracket. Now we will declare the object of the class sample as sample s1 equal to 99. Here now whenever we declare the object as s1, a constructor will be called by default and the 99 will be passed as a value of the parameter j. This value in turn will be assigned to the object data member a. Now the next statement will be cout s1 dot get a. Here it will return the value of a which is basically 99 and it will be displayed on the screen and now return 0 and our main program will end. When the above program is compiled and executed, the output of the program will be 99. We will start with the program hash include iostream.h hash include string.h using namespace std. Here we will declare the class course. So, we will start with the class declaration class course. Here there are two data members of this particular class. One is integer course code and second is a character array character course name 30. Both of these data members are by default in private scope. We will start with the public section. Here we are declaring the constructor which is a parameterized constructor as course in bracket integer comma char star semicolon. Here we are just declaring the constructor. Actual definition of this particular constructor will be outside the class. So, here we are giving the argument type and not the argument names. So, here we are just telling the compiler that two arguments will be passed, one will be of type integer and second will be of type character pointer. The actual definition of this particular constructor will be outside the class. We will have the second member function which is a display data, return type is void and the argument list is void. Here we are displaying the data as cout the string course code and the value of the variable course code. Second statement is cout the course name and the value of the variable course name end l and our member function ends. Here our class declaration also ends. Now, just before declaring the main function, we have to declare our constructor course. So, we will have the scope resolution operator. We have to tell that it belongs to the class course. Then we will have course colon colon, that is basically the scope resolution operator, the name of the constructor course and it accepts two parameters integer code comma char star s. Here we have declared the parameter name. We will start with the program course code equal to code string copy course name comma s. Here the contents of string s will be copied to course name. Here our constructor ends. We will start with the main program integer main. Here we are declaring the object of the class course c in bracket 500 comma c++. Here whenever we declare the object of this particular class, the parameter constructor will be called where 500 will be passed to the parameter code and c++ will be passed to the character string s. So, in turn the data member of object c will get the values as course code 500 and course name c++. Then we have a member function c.displayData return 0. Here our main function ends. Now, when the above code is compiled and executed, it will produce the result as course code 500 and course name c++. The next type of constructor is a copy constructor. The copy constructor is a type of constructor which is used to create a copy of an already existing object of a class type. Now, let us see what happens in built-in data type. Suppose we have the initialization statement as integer x equal to 10 and the second statement as integer y equal to x. Here one variable is initialized, that is variable y, depending on the value of x. This is what is going to happen in a copy constructor. One object is going to be initialized depending on the another object. Same terminology will be used for the objects. A copy constructor takes a reference to an object of the same as itself as an argument. All member values of one object can be assigned to the other object using the copy constructor. for copying the object values, it is must that both the objects must belong to the same class. The copy constructor can accept a reference to its own class as a parameter. The process of initializing through a copy constructor is known as copy initialization. The compiler provides a default copy constructor to all the classes. It is a must to use ampersand or an address operator when an object is used or passed to a constructor function. It is usually of the form the class name in bracket the class type ampersand, where we can have X as a class name. The syntax is class name scope resolution operator class name in bracket class name ampersand ptr. The copy constructor can also be defined using the constant keyword as the class name, the scope resolution operator, class name, constant class name ampersand ptr. The situations where copy constructor is called are when an object is initialized to an object of the same class, when an object is passed to a function by value, when an object is returned from a function by value, when the compiler generates a temporary object. The copy constructor is used to initialize one object from another of the same type, copy an object to pass it as an argument to a function, copy an object to return it from a function. Now let us see a program to illustrate the use of the copy constructor. Let us start with the program #include iostream.h using namespace std. Here we will declare the class example. So name of the class is example. Here we have two variables, two data members as a and b of type integer. By default they are in a private scope. We will start with the public colon. Here we are defining one parameterized constructor as example. It will take two parameters integer x comma integer y. The value of x is assigned to a equal to x, and the value of y is assigned to b equal to y, and we are displaying the statement as cout inside the constructor. Here we are now going to declare the copy constructor. It will be declared as example in bracket example ampersand t. As you can see in the parameter, the same object is taken using the sign ampersand, where this particular object is named as t, which is a temporary object of the class example. Now inside this particular copy constructor, we are saying a equal to t dot a. So value of t object is assigned to the calling object, b equal to t dot b, the value of b is assigned to b. Now we will have one member function void display, which display the value of a and b on the screen. Cout /n values, the value of a and the value of b, and our class will end. So in this particular class, we have declared the class example with two data members a and b by in the scope private, and two constructors are called. One is basically parameterized constructor and second is a copy constructor, and one member function is defined. Now let us start with the program integer main. Here we are going to declare the object of class example as example object 10, 20. Now here the object data member will be declared, or it will be initialized as a will have the value 10, b will have the value 20. Here the parameterized constructor will be called. Second object will declare as example object 2 equal to object. Here now the copy constructor will be called, where object will be passed as an parameter. So the value of t will be equal to the object. Now object to a will be equal to t dot a, object to b will be equal to t dot b. Now we are calling the function object dot display. So it will display the value of a and b for the object. Object to display, it will display the value of a and b for object to, return 0, and our main program will end. When the above code is compiled and executed, it will produce the result as in constructor, then values are 10 and 20, second values are 10 and 20. We can have multiple constructors in a class, which is basically called as overloaded constructors. The constructors can also be overloaded like other member functions. The constructor of a class may also be overloaded, so that even with different number and types of initial values, an object may still be initialized like any other function. When more than one type of constructor is defined in the class, then it is said to be overloaded constructors. Any number of constructors can exist in a class, but it is compulsory that they should differ in the parameter list. Depending upon the number of parameters, the compiler executes appropriate constructor. The overloading of constructors is used to increase the flexibility of a class by having more than one constructor in a single class. Let's see a program to display the roll number and name using multiple constructors in a class. We'll start with the program #include IOStream using namespace std. Here we are going to define the class student. We are going to have two data members in a private scope, integer roll number and character name 30. Now we will start with the public colon. Here we are going to declare or define the parameterized constructor as student and the parameter is integer x. Roll number will be equal to x and name equal to null string. Then we are going to have one more constructor which is a parameterized constructor student. It will accept two parameters integer x and char str 30. Here roll number will be equal to x and we are going to copy the string to the name as str copy name comma string. Now we are going to have one display member function void display. Here we are going to displaying the roll number and name of the student as cout roll number is roll number and the name is name, and our member function display ends and our class ends. So here we are declare the class student with two data members roll number and name, two constructors and one member function. Now we will start with the main program integer main. Here we are going to declare the object of class student s1 in bracket 10. Here the first constructor will be called with one parameter as integer x. Now we are going to declare the second object student s2 in bracket 11 comma aaa. Here the second constructor will be called with two parameters the integer and the character string. Now we are displaying the values as s1 dot display and s2 dot display. Our main program will end. Now here when the above code will be compiled and executed, it will produce the result as 10 and the null string and 11 and the name as AAA. Dynamic initialization of the objects. The objects of a class can be initialized dynamically. That is, the primary value of the object may be provided during runtime. The main advantage of dynamic initialization is that it is possible to provide initialization formats by using overloaded constructors, which tries to give the flexibility so that different format of data can be used at runtime based on the situation. Dynamic constructors are the constructor that is used to allocate the memory to the objects at runtime. The memory allocation to objects is allocated with the help of the new operator. It is possible to dynamically initialize the objects with the help of the dynamic constructor. Now let us see the program to see the usage of dynamic constructor. We will start with the program #include iostream.h using namespace std. Here we are going to declare the class account as class account private integer account number and integer balance. So these two are the data members in a private scope. Now in a public section we will have the constructor as account. It is going to accept two parameters integer a comma integer b. Account number equal to a and the balance equal to b. Now we are going to have a member function display void display. Here we are displaying the details as cout account number is account number, cout the balance is balance. Our member function ends and our class ends. Now we will start with the main program integer main. Here we are going to declare two variables as integer account number and balance BAL. Cout enter the account number. We are going to take a account number from the user. Then cout enter the balance. We will take a balance from the user. Now we are declaring the object of the class account as account star acc equal to new account in bracket account number comma balance. Here this is basically the declaration for the dynamic constructor. Now we are calling the display function as account arrow display and we are returning from the main program. Our main program ends here. When the above code is compiled and executed, it will produce the result as account number. Suppose user has entered the value as 101 and the balance is 12,000. Destructors. The job of memory deallocation from the object is done by a special member function of the class which is called as a destructor. The common use of destructor is to deallocate and release the memory that was allocated for the object by the constructor. It is a member function whose name is the same as that of a class name but it is preceded by the tilde symbol. The class cannot have more than one destructor. It takes no argument and no return type can be specified for the destructor. It is called automatically by the compiler when an object is destroyed or when the object goes out of scope. Destructors are parameterless functions. The syntax for the destructor is class, class name, in a public section, tilde, class name, opening and closing bracket, and the class ends. The characteristics of the destructor are, it never takes any argument nor does it return any value. Only one destructor can be defined for a class. Destructors cannot be overloaded. It is must that it should be defined in the public section of the class. Now let us see the simple program to understand the concept of a constructor and destructor. We will start with the program #include iostream.h using namespace std. Here we are going to declare the class marks in a public section. There are two data members, integer maths, integer science. Here we are going to declare the constructor as marks, opening and closing bracket, cout the message inside the constructor. Second message, cout C++ object is created and the constructor ends. Now we are going to declare the destructor as tilde marks, opening and closing bracket. Here inside the destructor there are two messages, cout inside the destructor and cout C++ object is destructed and the destructor ends and the end of the class marks. So here we have declared the class marks with two data members, maths and science marks, and one constructor and one destructor. Now let us start with the main program, integer main. Here we are declaring the object as marks m1, marks m2, return 0 and our main program ends. Now here when we create the object, first object as marks m1, the constructor will be called. For the second object m2, again the constructor will be called. Whenever we end the bracket, the constructor will be called for the m2 object and then the destructor will be called for m1 object. When the above program is compiled and executed, it will produce the result as inside constructor C++ object created, inside constructor C++ object created, inside destructor C++ object destructed, inside destructor C++ object destructed. Now let us see a menu-driven program with the help of constructor and destructor. Here we are going to see the program to perform addition, subtraction and multiplication of two complex numbers using the constructor. #include iostream using namespace std. Here we are going to declare the class of complex numbers, class complex. Now here complex number will have two parts, the real part, the imaginary part. So they are declared as in a private data member float rp1.rp2 which is a real part, float ip1 comma ip2 which is a imaginary part. In public section we are going to have one constructor as complex and it is going to accept four parameters, float. Then we are going to have a member function void add, void sub and void mul, and our class ends. As you have seen here, all the declarations of the classes are given inside the class, but actual definition of this member function and constructor is outside the class. We will declare one by one all the member functions and constructors. The first is the constructor complex : which is scope resolution operator complex. It will accept four parameters as float x, float y, float z and float w, and they are given the values to data members as rp1x, rp2z, ip1y, ip2w. Here the constructor ends. Our next member function is void complex add. Here two variables are declared as float xy. Now we are adding two complex number as x equal to rp1 plus rp2, y equal to ip1 plus ip2, and we are displaying the result as cout. The result of addition is x plus yi. Now we are going to have a subtract function void complex subtract, where float xy are declared as a local variables, x equal to rp1 minus rp2, y equal to ip1 minus ip2. Here we are displaying the result as cout. The result of subtraction is x plus yi, and our function ends. Next one is a void complex mul function. Here we are declaring the two local variables float xy Here we are displaying the values on the screen as Cout, RP1, RP2, IP1, IP2. Now we are doing the multiplication as x equal to RP1 into RP2 minus IP1 into IP2, y equal to RP1 into IP2 plus RP2 into IP1, and we are displaying the result of the multiplication as x plus yi. Now here our function multiplication ends. Restrictions that apply to constructors and destructors. Constructors and destructors do not have return types, nor can they return any values. References and pointers cannot be used on constructors and destructors because their addresses cannot be taken. Constructors cannot be declared with the keyword virtual. Constructors and destructors cannot be declared as static, constant or volatile. Unions cannot contain class objects that have constructors and destructors. Now let us see the differences between constructor and destructor. The first, the constructor is a special member function whose main task is to initialize the objects of the class. Destructor is a special member function whose main task is to destroy the objects that have been created by the constructor. Second, the name of the constructor is same as that of a class name. The name of the destructor is same as that of a class name preceded by the tilde sign. The constructor is invoked when an object of its associated class is created. The destructor is invoked implicitly by the compiler upon exit of the program to clean up the storage that is no longer available. Constructor can take arguments, destructor does not take any arguments. The example of the constructor is given where the class name is employee, and here the constructor is EMP, where the data members are initialized as 100, employee number and salary 10,000. Destructor, here again the class employee is created, the destructor is defined, where we are displaying the message as the employee object is destroyed. Now let us summarize the module constructors and destructors. As we have seen, the constructors are mainly used to initialize the data members of a class. The constructor does not have any return type, not even the void. The name of the constructor is same as that of class name. Constructors should be used only to initialize the objects. As we have seen, there are three types of constructors: default constructor, copy constructor and parameterized constructor. Default constructor does not take any arguments. Parameterized constructor accepts the parameters and they initialize the data members depending on the parameters, and copy constructors initialize the data members depending on the other object of the same class. As we have also seen that we can overload the constructors. In one class we can have different set of constructors. Depending on the argument, the appropriate constructor will be called.